Hi everyone, and welcome to Project and Portfolio 3, Intrapreneurship. My name is Melissa Schumann and I'm your course director for this course. Let's go ahead and get started. First off, a little bit about myself. I graduated from Arizona State University with a degree in marketing. After that, I went to work for a Fortune 500 company out in San Francisco and worked for them for about 8 years. Decided to move back to Orlando, Winter Park area, Florida, where I am originally from and where Full Sail is located, and got my MBA at Rollins College at Crummer Graduate School of Business with a focus on intrapreneurship. And I started my own company after graduation and have been an entrepreneur for the past 8+ years. So I have a good perspective of what it's like to work for a large corporation and also understanding the small business owner. So let's go ahead and get started. Just a quick overview of what this month will look like. First off, this week we are going to do an introduction to intrapreneurship. Next week we'll talk about entrepreneurs in the workplace. Week 3, facilitating change, and week 4, implementing innovation. So first off, an introduction to intrapreneurship. So you might be thinking, is there a misspelling on this slide? Don't you mean entrepreneurship? No, this class is called Intrapreneurship. And basically, that is where an employee acts as an entrepreneur inside a company. And you might be thinking, okay, that's interesting. Why is this relevant? Well, a lot of you are going to work for large companies. You might not start your own business after school. You might go work for a large company. So how do you shine? How do you become an exceptional employee? How do you get ahead? How do you get promoted? Well, the concept of intrapreneurship and practicing it is what's going to get you ahead. And for those of you who are more established, implementing intrapreneurship programs in your company is what's going to keep you competitive. So let's go ahead and get into it. Good employees follow processes, great employees tweak processes, and exceptional employees find ways to reinvent processes. So we have good, great, and exceptional. Those all seem like not bad things, right? Well, if you end up being a great employee for your company and you are satisfied, you are producing for the company, then you're happy and the company is happy. Hey, that's awesome. Great employees are dependable, proactive, hardworking, great leaders, and great followers. But exceptional employees, they find ways to reinvent processes. They think beyond their job description, and they do whatever it takes to impact company results in a positive way. So the exceptional employees are the ones that are getting promoted. They're the ones that have maybe the most job fulfillment, and they are the ones that are entrepreneurs. So innovation happens at all levels of the organization. It's not only the marketing or product development team that are being innovative within a company. It is anybody who has contact with the customer, anybody who deals with processes. Innovation can happen at any level in the company. But how do you implement that innovation? Well, you implement it by diplomatically building a professional network to support your ideas. We're going to get into this as the course goes on, but think about it. Let's say you graduate from Full Sail, you get this great job, you're so excited, you see an opportunity with that company, you've been there 1 month, you see the vice president of the company walking down the hallway, and you go up to them and you say, "Hey, vice president, I've got a great idea that can make this company more profitable." That might not go over so well. So, and that would be something that's not considered diplomatic. So there's a corporate culture, there's politics involved within a company. So there's ways that you present a proposal for a new idea. And we're going to discuss that in this course. So intrapreneurship not only benefits you by feeling more fulfilled as an employee, but also management recognizes that a company's ability to compete is contingent on how well it leverages its employees' ideas. Intrapreneurship engages managers and employees to direct the flow of ideas and foster a culture of entrepreneurship within the company's structure. And this is done by building the leadership skills of its employees. So making change, being competitive, all of this is not easy for companies to do, to make large changes. So if these changes or innovations come from within the company, from the people who really know the products and the customers, that's really what's going to keep the company competitive. So that's why it's important for the company to support intrapreneurship, as well as for the employees to seek it. The term intrapreneurship was coined by Gifford Pinchot, who was the co-founder and president of Bainbridge Graduate Institute. And he basically said that an intrapreneur is an entrepreneur inside of a company. And that came out in the 1980s. So this is a fairly new concept, but it is what is current and cutting edge in the business world. An intrapreneur is basically someone who takes direct responsibility for turning an idea or an invention into a profitable, finished product or service through assertive risk-taking and internal innovation. Here are some historic examples of intrapreneurship. You might recognize a few of these. You might have used what you might know as iTunes or an iPhone, Post-it notes, Lockheed Martin, who is a very large company that builds aircrafts. All of these inventions or innovations came from inside the company. These were not outside ideas. These were employee ideas. So these are excellent examples of large-scale innovations. But your innovation, your contributions to companies, you don't have to create the iPod to be an intrapreneur or to show your value to a company. But I just wanted to show you the scale here, the spectrum of how big these innovations can span. I know I have some sports marketing as well as internet marketing students in this course, and for the sports marketing students, there has been some entrepreneurship opportunities that are unveiling in sports marketing. There are advances in technology that are making some of these areas more accessible. So, for example, promotional delivery systems, broadcast, venue management, sportscape, which this is kind of like landscape, but for the sports field, logistics, and safety and security. These are all areas that can be innovative. I want to give you a real life example of entrepreneurship and action. Some of you might be familiar with senior fantasy writer David Richard. And basically, David Richard saw that there was an opportunity to cover fantasy sports for CBSSports.com. He was currently working for them, and he was an editorial producer for NFL.com. And the NFL was slow to adapt to fantasy football over fears of association with gambling. So it did not have a prominent fantasy presence on its website. So basically, Dave was an active fantasy player and saw an opportunity to fill that void. While most of the work he did was for editorial producers, did not involve producing content, Dave pitched his idea to his bosses of starting a regular column, a fantasy football column. And after approval of his bosses and the NFL, he became NFL.com's first fantasy football writer. His work on his regular column was often done on top of his regular duties. So basically, Dave saw an opportunity in his everyday work life. And he said, you know what, I'm going to do whatever it takes to bring this to CBS Sports, because this is what CBS Sports needed to stay relevant and to stay competitive. And by doing this, Dave established a stronger fantasy presence on the NFL's official website. And the NFL now has a robust fantasy presence in all their NFL media platforms, which include NFL.com, NFL Network, etc. It also benefited his career by establishing himself as an expert on fantasy football and leading to his current position with CBS Sports, which is the senior fantasy writer. So basically, Dave could have stayed a good or great employee, but he chose to be an exceptional employee because he saw an opportunity and a way for CBS Sports to be innovative, and he went after it. He took a risk. Now, again, innovation, improvements to company processes, they don't have to be huge, groundbreaking ideas to impact the company. They can be everyday opportunities, like improving paperwork flow, identifying bottlenecks or waste, excessive processing costs, time-consuming procedures, things that are causing delays and backlogs or any duplication of effort. So you might think to your current work history or some time that you've worked for an organization, either volunteering or whatever you've done up until this point in your career. And if you really think about it, I'm sure you've seen some things on this list. You've seen some duplication of effort. I think we've all seen that. Or some time-consuming procedures that just weren't necessary, that were bogging you down. Well, it's those who are exceptional and those intrapreneurs who see those opportunities, present a proposal, a solution to management, and then make change. And at the end of the day, they feel more fulfilled with their job. They feel good. They feel like they've made a difference. And it's those folks that usually get promoted, are usually the ones that are the movers and shakers. If you don't want to be a mover and shaker, that's okay. But you will definitely get a sense of fulfillment by making an impact in the workplace. So we have an example here for the sports fans again. The very best professional baseball players in the major league didn't pursue a baseball career primarily because they wanted to get rich. They followed their passion of the sport. Of the thousands of Major League Baseball players, only a handful are admitted into the prestigious Hall of Fame. The players who receive this honor show consistency in performance. Their careers contributed to the game of baseball, and they had clean reputations. We can make the comparison of somebody's dedication to Major League Baseball with corporate innovators to entrepreneurs in the workplace. Excuse me. The greatest corporate innovators are always working on something that will improve the environment at large. These corporate innovators or entrepreneurs are great individuals where money is oxygen required for living and generating new inventions, but not the goal. The best innovators are not motivated by greed and wealth and accumulation. If they are, they usually fail soon after their first idea. Now think about that. Why would that be? I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with wanting to make money, but from what I've seen, the people that are making a difference and achieving goals, they're not motivated by money. The money usually follows. So if you're out there doing the right thing, then the money will follow. And I don't mean to get too preachy. And everything is not universal, of course. Another great intrapreneur, Indiana Jones. Some of you might be a little too young to know who Indiana Jones is, and that's okay. But I'm going to give you the example of Indiana Jones as a great entrepreneur anyways. And the Indiana Jones movie, his character, his mission was to find the lost Ark Covenant so it could be placed in a museum. So he had a practical persistence. He wanted to do this before the bad guys could get it. He didn't take things personal, and he knew the struggle wasn't about him. He generated real value. He was a creative problem solver with a clear focus. He was focused on action, not activity, getting it done. And he kept a sense of humor throughout. He was able to laugh at himself. And lastly, break down before breakthrough. One of the famous scenes in the movie is Indiana Jones is terrified of snakes. And in one of the scenes towards the end, he has to walk over a room full of snakes in order to uh, get to the ark. So, a fictional character, yes. Maybe watch the movie. It's a great movie, Indiana Jones, The Lost Ark. Um, but it's just an example of that practical persistence, generating real value, focused on action, keeping a sense of humor, and breaking through and not giving up. So again, big companies are finding value in entrepreneurship. And one of the reasons is big companies are usually adverse to ideas from the outside, meaning a large company is slow to hear what they should do from outside people, outside consultants. This is not universal again, but a lot of times, most of the ideas from big companies come from within. So this means that the only way to change big business is from within, and that is by using the company as a test lab for intrapreneurship. This will help develop a culture of entrepreneurship, which will be essential to helping potentially your company implement change, because it will enable the creativity and innovation of employees to come forward. This is always a fun quote. Contrary to popular belief, the brains of an organization are equally distributed across the company, about one per person. Now, there are two sides to intrapreneurship, and I've mentioned that a little bit so far. There's bottom up, and that's basically you getting started as an entrepreneur. And there's top down, and that's where a company has a work culture that encourages intrapreneurship. There are some companies that actually have intrapreneurship programs built in already. But no matter if the company that you're working for has an intrapreneurship program, which I'm going to say not all do, for sure, you can still act as an entrepreneur. So basically, how you get started as an entrepreneur and how to create a work culture that encourages an authentic, proactive pursuit of entrepreneurship is dependent on you most of the time. And the goal for the larger companies who have these programs in place is to stimulate creativity, a spirit of innovation, an entrepreneurial value creation mindset for our employees. So if I have any students out there that are currently managers, you might want to start thinking about, does your workplace have an intrapreneurship program? Or do you encourage entrepreneurship within your workplace? But again, most companies don't. So it's up to us, it's up to you as a future professional to get started. And just before I exit the slide, the purpose of the top-down entrepreneurship programs in larger companies is to stimulate creativity, a spirit of innovation, and an entrepreneurial value creation mindset. So one cool thing about Full Sail is we have an entrepreneurial program, and it's called the Full Sail Leadership Academy, and it is so cool. And I have some videos of some proposals that actual employees have made to management here. They made proposals, and it was videotaped. And I'm going to show them to you at a later point so you can see what those proposals look like. But it is so cool. One is basically a young lady who works um, as a document specialist. She basically saw an opportunity to decrease the number of errors that were appearing in some of the documents, which in the end led to students starting on time. So I'm sure that's important to you, making sure all your transcripts are in and you can start your classes day one. And it also saved Full Sail money. And the other example was an esports team for the school to help create that school spirit. So we'll look at those at a later time, but I did want to share those with you. So the Full Sail Leadership Academy is a top-down example. So the Full Sail example is an internal leadership development program. And it is built by, with, and for Full Sail leaders. It builds upon high-impact, people-centric leaders who consistently deliver on key organizational objectives and embody Full Sail's guiding principles. So basically the way it works is Full Sail takes a group of employees through some leadership training, and then at the end of the leadership training, they then work on projects that they feel could help Full Sail be even bigger and better, and help the students achieve their dream. And it's designed for both current and aspiring leaders. So people who have been with Full Sail for just like a year, and then there's some folks that have been with Full Sail for 15 years. And again, it's really about how do we make the student experience even bigger and better. So it's really cool to work for a company that has this intrapreneurship program in place. So I know we have discussed quite a bit here, and really this is an introduction to intrapreneurship, okay? I don't expect you to understand everything at this point. We're just learning about the concepts. But I just wanted to share with you a little bit about the behaviors of intrapreneurs who are starting out. Intrapreneurs trust their instincts and are often trailblazers where there is no road ahead. At first, as an entrepreneur, you will want the time and space to develop your idea and generate buy-in, because you don't want to unveil your idea until you have run it by a few people. You want to basically wear off the rough edges and garner some support. You want to basically develop your idea. You also want to engage others who can benefit from your idea, as well as those who can help you spot landmines along the way. By doing this, the entrepreneur can avoid pitfalls and pick up some valuable wisdom. Moreover, you want to test your idea and iterate it quickly, because you don't want to spend all your time in the planning stage. Holding on to your ideas too close to your chest and fear that someone will steal them guarantees they will not happen. Sharing them with people who can advise you and help you to implement them gives you a much better chance of success. So that's just some parting words for this first part of, we're doing part 1 and part 2 of today's video lessons, just to kind of give you a little bit of a break. But those are some behaviors starting out that you'll see an entrepreneur exhibit. So while we take this quick break, I want you to start thinking about the class project. Start thinking about a company that you want to work with. So for this class, you are going to be an employee of a company, and you're going to research that company like you are an employee. You're going to write basically a excuse me, a 2-page paper every week, and each paper, or proposal rather, builds upon each other until finally in week 4 you have your final proposal. So week 1 you'll write your first part, week 2 second, week 3 third, week 4 fourth. So each week you'll write a portion of your proposal. That way at the end in week 4, which I know is very stressful for you all, you will have basically almost a completed paper, or a proposal rather. I don't want to scare you with the word paper. It's more of a proposal. But I want you to start thinking about a company, and I really encourage you to think about a company that is a little bit larger. And the reason being is it is easier to research a company that is larger when using the library resources, also Yahoo Finance, any demographic information. Part of your proposal will be looking up company reviews, product reviews. So if it's a small company, you may have a tough time. And when I say small company, I've had with other classes people who used like their local gym, like an independent local gym, exercise gym, as the company they wanted to work with, which was fine if that's what you feel passionate about and that's what you would like to work with. But I really think for this course, it's going to be really difficult unless you choose a larger company, okay? So again, go out of your comfort zone too. Don't choose a company that you've worked with before for other classes. First off, you're not supposed to do that. But second, it's a way of challenging yourself. You're here to learn, so think outside the box a bit. Okay, so that ends part 1 of today's video lecture, and I will be back for part 2 in just a few minutes.